Hello, and welcome to this enlightening revelation that may finally explain the mysterious changes you might be experiencing in your life recently. Take a deep breath and prepare to discover why you may have noticed subtle but significant transformations in how you feel, how you relate to others, and how the world seems to be responding to you in different and often surprising ways. Imagine for a moment that you're like a radio station that's gradually increasing its transmission frequency. As your frequency rises, you automatically tune into different programming, experiences, opportunities, people, and circumstances that correspond to your new vibration. And imagine that there are specific and recognizable signs that indicate when this frequency elevation is happening. What if I told you that the seemingly random changes you might be noticing in your life, changes in your relationships, in your preferences, in how you feel about certain situations, or even in what kind of opportunities are showing up, aren't coincidences, but direct evidence that your vibrational frequency is elevating to a new level? Now imagine that you can learn to recognize these signs not just to validate your growth, but to consciously accelerate and support the frequency elevation process. That understanding these indicators can help you navigate transition periods with more confidence and align even more deeply with the higher frequencies that are emerging. For months or even years, you may have felt that something was changing within you, but without a framework to understand what was happening. You may have questioned whether these changes were positive, whether you were on the right path, or whether you should resist or embrace the transformations you were experiencing. This lack of understanding can create confusion, anxiety, or even resistance to changes that are actually deeply beneficial and indicative of significant spiritual and personal evolution. In the next few moments, we're going to explore the 5 clearest and most universal signs that your frequency is rising, why each of these signs is evidence of vibrational evolution, how these signs specifically manifest in your daily experience, and most importantly, why recognizing and embracing these signs further accelerates your frequency elevation journey. Get ready to recognize patterns in your own experience that you may not have understood before. Get ready to validate changes you may have questioned. And get ready to understand why your rising frequency is automatically reorganizing your life in ways that support your highest well-being and evolution. To truly understand the signs that your frequency is rising, we first need to establish what frequency elevation means and why it creates automatic and inevitable changes in all aspects of your life experience. Because frequency elevation isn't just an abstract spiritual concept, it's a real energetic process that has measurable and observable effects. When your vibrational frequency rises, you're literally operating at a higher energetic level. This means your thoughts become clearer and more positive, your emotions become more stable and elevated, your intuition becomes stronger and more reliable, and your ability to manifest positive experiences increases dramatically. This frequency elevation also means you become incompatible with experiences, people, and situations that operate at lower frequencies. It's like tuning to a higher FM radio station. You automatically stop receiving transmissions from lower frequencies. Similarly, as your personal frequency rises, you naturally move away from experiences that don't match your new vibration. This explains why frequency elevation often comes accompanied by changes that may seem disruptive at first, but are actually necessary realignments that create space for higher experiences to enter your life. The frequency elevation process also activates what I call a life system upgrade, an automatic reorganization of your external circumstances to match your new internal vibration. It's like updating a computer's operating system. Some old functions may no longer work, but you gain access to much more powerful and sophisticated capabilities. The 5 signs we're going to explore are universal because they reflect fundamental changes that happen when anyone elevates their vibrational frequency. While specific details may vary from person to person, these basic patterns are consistent because they reflect universal energetic laws. Recognizing these signs is important not just for personal validation, but because understanding what's happening allows you to consciously collaborate with the process instead of resisting it. When you know that certain changes are signs of positive growth, you can embrace them with confidence instead of fearing them. Additionally, recognizing these signs allows you to identify areas where you might be resisting frequency elevation and make conscious adjustments to support the process. Sometimes unconscious resistance can slow down or complicate frequency elevation, but when you understand what's happening, you can choose flow over resistance. It's also important to understand that frequency elevation isn't a linear process. You may experience periods of rapid elevation followed by periods of integration where changes stabilize. You may also experience what seem like temporary setbacks that are actually part of the natural process of adjusting to new frequencies. The signs we're going to explore may appear in different orders for different people, and some may be more prominent than others depending on your unique situation and growth path. The important thing is to recognize the general patterns and understand that they indicate positive movement toward higher frequencies. Each of these signs also tends to reinforce each other. As you experience one sign of frequency elevation, it often catalyzes or amplifies other signs, creating an upward momentum that accelerates the entire transformation process. Now let's explore the first fundamental sign that your frequency is rising, which is often the most obvious and the first to be noticed by people going through vibrational elevation. The first and often most obvious sign that your frequency is rising is a significant transformation in your relationships and social circles. This happens because relationships are based on vibrational resonance. You naturally connect with people who operate at frequencies similar to yours. When your frequency elevates, you may discover that some relationships that were once comfortable or satisfying now feel draining, superficial, or even toxic. This doesn't mean these people have become worse. It means you've evolved to a frequency where these relationships are no longer vibrationally compatible. You may notice that conversations that were once interesting now seem trivial or negative. Social activities you used to enjoy may start to feel empty or even uncomfortable. People you considered close friends may start to seem critical, pessimistic, or focused on drama in ways you hadn't noticed before. This change can be confusing and even painful at first, especially if it involves long-standing relationships or family members. You may question whether you're becoming judgmental or if you've lost the ability to relate to normal people. But what's really happening is that your vibrational sensitivity has increased, making you more aware of energies you once tolerated or didn't even perceive. Simultaneously, you'll probably notice that you're attracting new types of people into your life, individuals who are more positive, conscious, authentic, and aligned with personal growth. These new connections often feel deeper and more meaningful than old relationships, even when they're more recent. You may find yourself having deeper conversations about life purpose, spiritual growth, creativity, or how to make a positive difference in the world. These conversations feel energizing rather than draining, and you may notice you feel more like yourself when you're with these people. Another aspect of this relational change is that you may become less tolerant of behaviors you once accepted. This can include gossip, constant negativity, unnecessary drama, or people who consistently drain your energy without giving anything back. You may find yourself establishing clearer boundaries or simply naturally moving away from situations that don't serve your well-being. This change in relationships can also manifest as a growing need for alone time. You may discover that you value solitude more than before, not because you've become antisocial, but because you need space to process your internal evolution and maintain your new elevated frequency. You may also notice changes in how you behave in relationships. You might become more authentic, less willing to pretend or please others at the cost of your own integrity. You might express yourself more honestly, even when it creates temporary discomfort. In romantic relationships, this change can be particularly significant. If you're in a relationship, you may notice it deepens and becomes more authentic, or you may discover that incompatibilities that were once ignored now become impossible to ignore. If you're single, you may discover you're attracting potential partners who are more aligned with who you're becoming. It's important to understand that these relational changes aren't personal failures or signs that you're becoming difficult to get along with. They're natural and healthy evidence that you're evolving to a higher frequency. Resisting these changes can slow your growth, while embracing them allows you to align with relationships that truly support and nurture who you're becoming. To navigate these changes with grace, practice compassion both for yourself and for others who may be struggling to adjust to your changes. Recognize that not everyone is ready for or interested in frequency elevation, and that's okay. You can honor past relationships for what they were while allowing new, more aligned relationships to enter your life. Now let's explore the second sign of frequency elevation, which often accompanies relational changes and can be equally transformative. The second clear sign that your frequency is rising is a notable increase in your intuition and the frequency of synchronicities in your life. This happens because higher frequencies allow access to more subtle levels of information and create greater alignment with life's natural flow. As your frequency elevates, you may discover that your intuition becomes much stronger, clearer, and more reliable. You may start to know things without logically understanding how you know them. You might have hunches about people, situations, or decisions that turn out to be surprisingly accurate. This elevated intuition can manifest in various ways. You may start to feel people's or places' energies more clearly, instantly perceiving whether something feels right or wrong for you. You might have sudden insights about solutions to problems that were confusing you. You may feel impulses to take certain actions that lead to unexpected positive outcomes. You may also notice that you're receiving guidance through dreams, meditation, or moments of quiet in ways that are clearer and more specific than before. This guidance often comes with a quality of knowing that's different from logical thinking. It's more direct, more certain, and often accompanied by a sense of peace or expansion. Simultaneously, you'll probably notice a dramatic increase in synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to be orchestrated by some greater intelligence. This can include finding exactly the information you need at the right moment, meeting people who have exactly the skills or connections you need, or having opportunities appear precisely when you're ready for them. These synchronicities often feel like confirmations that you're on the right path, or signs that the universe is supporting your journey. They can be subtle, like repeatedly seeing certain numbers, words, or symbols, or dramatic, like chance encounters that change the course of your life. You may also notice that you're receiving answers to questions or guidance about decisions through external sources in ways that seem to be more than coincidence. This can include hearing exactly what you need to hear in conversations, books, songs, or even in casual comments from strangers. Another aspect of this sign is that you may become more sensitive to signs and symbols in your environment. You may start to notice patterns in nature, messages on signs or advertisements, or other signals that seem to be speaking directly to your current situation. This increased intuition and synchronicity can also manifest as a growing ability to be in the right place at the right time. You may find yourself consistently in situations that are beneficial, even when you didn't consciously plan to be there. You may also discover that you're making choices that turn out to be perfect, even when they didn't make logical sense at the time. This can include decisions about where to go, who to talk to, what opportunities to pursue, or even small daily choices that lead to unexpected positive outcomes. It's important to distinguish between genuine intuition and anxiety or obsessive thinking. True intuition usually comes with a quality of calm, clarity, and certainty, even when the guidance might be unexpected. It often feels expansive and aligned with love and well-being, rather than contracted and fear-based. To develop confidence in your growing intuition, start by following intuitive impulses in low-risk situations and observe the results. Keep a synchronicity journal to help you recognize patterns and develop sensitivity to how guidance manifests in your life. Also, practice creating space for quiet and receptivity in your daily life. Intuition and synchronicities are more easily perceived when you're not constantly busy or distracted. Now let's explore the third sign of frequency elevation, which often accompanies increased intuition and can be one of the most liberating changes you experience. The third significant sign that your frequency is rising is a natural loss of interest in or even aversion to drama, negativity, and forms of entertainment that operate at lower frequencies. This happens because as your vibration elevates, you become naturally incompatible with energies that operate at lower frequencies. You may discover that activities that were once appealing or addictive now feel draining or even disturbing. This can include certain types of movies or TV shows, especially those that focus on violence, interpersonal drama, or negativity. You may find yourself turning off the television or leaving the movie theater because the content simply no longer resonates with you. This change often extends to news and social media. You may discover that constantly consuming negative news, which once seemed normal or even necessary to stay informed, now feels like an unnecessary drain on your energy. You may become more selective about what information you consume, preferring sources that are informative but not sensationalistic or fear-focused. On social networks, you may lose interest in posts that are negative, dramatic, or focused on complaints and conflicts. You might find yourself naturally moving away from feeds dominated by negativity and being drawn to content that's inspiring, educational, or uplifting. You may also notice a change in your tolerance for gossip or conversations that focus on criticizing or judging others. Conversations that once seemed harmless may now feel uncomfortable or even painful. You might find yourself changing the subject or withdrawing from conversations that become negative. This change often extends to music as well. You may discover that certain songs you once enjoyed now feel heavy or discordant. You might be naturally drawn to music that's more uplifting, harmonious, or spiritually inspiring. In terms of entertainment, you may find yourself preferring activities that nourish your soul rather than just distract you. This can include a growing preference for time in nature, reading inspiring books, creative practices, or activities that promote personal growth. You may also lose interest in social activities that are centered on complaints, drama, or negativity. Gatherings that were once fun may start to feel like work if they consistently focus on problems without seeking solutions or growth. Another aspect of this change is that you may become more sensitive to environments and their energy. Places that are chaotic, noisy, or filled with negative energy may become uncomfortable in ways you didn't experience before. You may find yourself preferring environments that are calmer, more harmonious, or natural. This change can also affect your career or work choices. If you work in an environment that's consistently negative, dramatic, or toxic, you may find yourself increasingly unhappy or even physically uncomfortable. You might start seeking work opportunities that are more aligned with your values and elevated frequency. It's important to understand that this change doesn't mean you're becoming judgmental or that you've lost the ability to relate to normal aspects of life. Instead, it means your vibrational sensitivity has increased and you're naturally being guided toward experiences that support your well-being and growth. This change also doesn't mean you should completely avoid all challenging aspects of life or live in a bubble of artificial positivity. It means you're becoming more discriminating about what energies you allow into your conscious space and more proactive in creating an environment that supports your elevated frequency. To navigate this change, be gentle with yourself about your new preferences. Don't force yourself to participate in activities or consume content that doesn't feel good just to seem normal. Trust your internal guidance about what nourishes versus what drains your energy. At the same time, practice compassion for others who may still be interested in forms of entertainment or conversation that no longer appeal to you. Recognize that people are at different stages of evolution and that your changed preferences aren't a judgment about others. Now let's explore the fourth sign of frequency elevation, which is often one of the most empowering and liberating changes you can experience. The fourth powerful sign that your frequency is rising is a notable increase in your ability to manifest and create your reality in ways that previously seemed difficult or impossible. This happens because higher frequencies have more direct access to the quantum field of possibilities and less internal resistance that blocks manifestation. You may start to notice that your thoughts and intentions manifest much more quickly than before. Things you desire or need may start appearing in your life with timing that seems almost magical. This can include work opportunities, financial resources, relationships, or even specific physical items you were looking for. This accelerated manifestation often happens in ways that are more elegant and beneficial than you could have consciously planned. Instead of having to force or struggle for results, you may discover they flow into your life naturally when you maintain clear intentions and remain open to how they might manifest. You may also notice that your ability to solve problems and find solutions becomes much more effective. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable may start having solutions that appear spontaneously or through unexpected resources. You may find yourself in the right place at the right time to receive help or information you need. Another aspect of this increased manifestation is that you may discover you're attracting people and opportunities that are perfectly aligned with your goals and values. Instead of having to actively search for connections or opportunities, they may start coming to you in ways that feel synchronized and natural. You may also notice that your ability to positively influence situations and people around you increases. Your presence may start having a calming or elevating effect on others, and you may discover that conflicts resolve more easily when you're involved. This increased manifestation ability often comes accompanied by a growing sense that you're collaborating with greater forces, rather than trying to control everything through personal effort. You may develop confidence that the universe is working in your favor, and that you can trust the creation process. You may also discover that you're receiving inspiration and creative ideas in ways that are more frequent and powerful than before. These ideas may come with a quality of download, as if you were receiving information from a greater source rather than generating it through logical thinking. Another related sign is that you may start noticing patterns in how manifestation works in your life. You might develop sensitivity to recognize when something is aligning to manifest, even before seeing physical evidence. This can include a sense of positive anticipation or simply a knowing that something good is coming. You may also discover that your ability to release and let go becomes stronger, which paradoxically increases your manifestation ability. When you can release attachment to specific outcomes and trust the process, you often receive something even better than you had imagined. This increased manifestation can also manifest as a growing ability to create positive changes in your health, relationships, and general well-being through internal changes in your consciousness. You may discover that working on your thought and emotion patterns has more direct and rapid effects on your external experience. It's important to use this increased manifestation ability with wisdom and responsibility. Focus on manifesting things that serve not just you, but the greater good. Use your growing power to create experiences that support your growth and allow you to contribute positively to the world. Also, maintain humility about this ability. Recognize that you're collaborating with greater forces rather than controlling everything through personal power. This perspective keeps you aligned with elevated frequencies and prevents ego from interfering with the process. To support this increased manifestation, practice clarity about what you truly want. Stay aligned with elevated frequencies through gratitude and positivity, and remain open for manifestations to appear in unexpected but beneficial ways. Now let's explore the fifth and final sign of frequency elevation, which is often the most profound and transformative of all. The fifth and perhaps most transformative sign that your frequency is rising is a profound shift in your sense of purpose, fundamental values, and overall life direction. This happens because higher frequencies provide access to broader perspectives on life's meaning and purpose, often revealing deeper callings that were previously hidden. You may start questioning aspects of your life that you once accepted without question. This can include your career, your long-term goals, how you spend your time, or even fundamental beliefs about what constitutes a successful life. These questions don't arise from superficial dissatisfaction, but from a growing recognition that you're destined for something greater or more meaningful. You may discover that goals that once seemed important now feel empty or superficial. This can include excessive focus on material status, external recognition, or competition with others. Instead, you may find yourself being drawn to goals that involve personal growth, contribution to others, or expression of your creativity and unique gifts. This change often comes accompanied by a growing sense that you have a specific mission or purpose in this life. You may start feeling that there's something specific you're here to do or contribute, even if you're not completely clear about the details yet. You may also notice changes in your fundamental values. Things that were once priorities may become less important, while values like authenticity, compassion, spiritual growth, or service to others may become central to how you want to live. This change in values often manifests in practical decisions about how you spend your time, energy, and resources. You may find yourself choosing experiences over possessions, meaningful relationships over superficial networking, or work that has meaning over work that just pays well. You may also experience what I call sacred restlessness, a feeling that you need to make changes in your life to align with who you're becoming, even when you're not completely certain about what changes to make. This restlessness isn't negative. It's your soul signaling that you're ready for evolution. Another aspect of this change is that you may develop a broader perspective on your life and place in the world. You may start seeing your life as part of a larger pattern or cosmic purpose, rather than just a series of random personal events. You may also find yourself being drawn to learning and experiences that support spiritual or personal growth. This can include interest in spiritual philosophies, personal development practices, or forms of healing and transformation that didn't previously appeal to you. This change in purpose often comes accompanied by growing courage to make changes that once seemed scary or impossible. You may find yourself willing to leave situations that no longer serve your growth, even when this involves uncertainty or temporary discomfort. You may also discover that you're being called to use your talents and experiences in ways that benefit others. This can manifest as a desire to teach, heal, create, or serve in other ways that make a positive difference in the world. It's important to navigate these purpose changes with patience and self-compassion. Profound transformations in life direction often happen gradually, and it's normal to have periods of uncertainty or confusion while you discover your new direction. Don't feel pressured to make dramatic changes immediately. Instead, start by making small adjustments that align you with your emerging values and allow larger changes to unfold naturally as you gain clarity. Also, trust that this change in purpose is a positive sign of growth, even when it creates temporary discomfort. Your soul is guiding you toward a life that's more authentic and aligned with your true potential. To support this transition, spend time reflecting on what truly matters to you now. Consider what kind of legacy you want to leave and how you want to be remembered. Use these reflections to guide decisions about how to align your life with your emerging purpose. Now let's explore why recognizing these signs is crucial for accelerating your frequency elevation journey and how you can use this understanding to consciously support your continued growth. Recognizing and understanding these 5 signs of frequency elevation is crucial not just for personal validation, but for consciously accelerating your vibrational growth process. When you understand what's happening, you can collaborate with the process instead of resisting it. making your transformation smoother and more effective. The first benefit of recognizing these signs is that it eliminates confusion and self-doubt that often accompany periods of significant change. When you understand that changes in relationships, increased intuition, loss of interest in negativity, accelerated manifestation, and purpose changes are natural signs of growth, you can embrace them with confidence instead of questioning them. Recognizing these signs also allows you to identify areas where you might be unconsciously resisting growth. For example, if you're experiencing some signs but not others, you can explore what beliefs or fears might be blocking specific aspects of your evolution. Understanding these patterns also allows you to consciously support each aspect of your frequency elevation. You can create practices and make choices that nurture your growing intuition, support higher relationships, and align your life with your emerging purpose. Additionally, recognizing these signs allows you to be more patient with the transformation process. Frequency elevation doesn't happen overnight, and different aspects may develop at different rates. Understanding this prevents frustration and allows you to trust the natural timing of your evolution. Recognizing these signs also helps you communicate your changes to others in ways that are more understandable and less threatening. When you can explain that you're going through personal growth rather than simply changing, others can be more supportive of your transformation. To accelerate your frequency elevation based on this understanding, focus on nurturing each area where you're seeing signs of growth. If your intuition is increasing, create more space for quiet and internal listening. If you're attracting higher relationships, invest energy in those connections. Also, use this understanding to make conscious choices that support higher frequencies. This can include consciously curating your media diet, actively seeking more aligned relationships, or taking practical steps to align your life with your emerging purpose. Remember that frequency elevation is an ongoing process, not a final destination. Each level of frequency you reach prepares you for even greater possibilities. Maintain openness to continued growth and celebrate each sign of evolution as evidence that you're fulfilling your potential. Finally, use your rising frequency to serve others. As you become more aligned, intuitive, and purposeful, you naturally become a positive force that can inspire and support others' elevation. This contribution not only benefits the world, but also accelerates your own evolution. Your frequency elevation journey is a gift not just to you, but to everyone whose lives you touch. Embrace the signs, trust the process, and allow your rising frequency to guide you to a life of extraordinary authenticity, purpose, and joy. As we come to the conclusion of this exploration of the 5 signs of frequency elevation, it's important to recognize that you're participating in one of the most extraordinary journeys possible for a human being: the conscious evolution of your own vibration and consequently your life experience. These 5 signs, changes in relationships, increased intuition and synchronicities, loss of interest in negativity, accelerated manifestation, and transformation of purpose, aren't just indicators of personal growth. They're evidence that you're aligning with higher versions of yourself and accessing potentials that always existed within you. When you recognize and embrace these signs, you become a conscious participant in your own evolution. You stop being a victim of changes that seem to be happening to you and become the conscious architect of your own transformation. Your frequency elevation also serves a greater purpose. Each person who consciously elevates their vibration contributes to the elevation of humanity's collective consciousness. You're participating in a planetary evolution that's redefining what's possible for our species. Remember that these signs may appear gradually and in different orders for different people. Be patient with yourself and trust the unique timing of your own journey. Each person has a unique path of evolution that's perfectly suited to their soul and circumstances. Also recognize that frequency elevation isn't about becoming perfect or completely transcending human challenges. It's about becoming more authentic, more aligned, and more capable of navigating life from wisdom and love rather than fear and limitation. Use this understanding to consciously support your ongoing journey. Create practices that nurture your elevated frequency. Make choices that support your growth, and stay open to the extraordinary transformations that are possible when you align with your highest potential. Your frequency is rising. Your life is changing. And you have the power to consciously collaborate with this process to create a life experience that exceeds even your highest dreams. Trust the signs, embrace the changes, and allow your rising frequency to guide you to a life of extraordinary authenticity, joy, and purpose. The universe is celebrating your evolution. Now it's time for you to also celebrate and fully embrace the magnificence of who you're becoming.